what's the expertise of the people on Reddit? Like, do you have like legit? Like,
well, it goes back to what you said. The information gets leaked or gets out there. Gets posted.
Okay.
When you get a following, for example, Joe Rogan, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone follows him.
Yeah.
He could say jump off a cliff, and here a certain percentage will jump off a cliff. That's how deep it goes. The more followers you go, the more people, the information you're posting. So I wondered that she had a big following. So not only can she buy tickets to do a whole trip.
So imagine she was documenting and everything, and then she just, look, I'm here at the very place where this company's supposed to be at. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna knock.
That's good.
Imagine she knocked and somebody opened up the door.
But the person who opened the door was too big. Big bad wolf. Wow. So, okay, so let's back to the Reddit, because now and that's why I'm glad you brought that up, because now I know nothing about Reddit, but you opened up about the Reddit and the Reddit community. Okay, now say have a big Reddit following, and then you think, okay, all of a sudden I'm going to be this independent investigator, and that puts pressure on you that, hey, but if you don't know how to do it, then yeah, somebody's going to figure you out easy.
Did you guys, around the same time, did you guys hear about, maybe his name, but he did a movie called Great Terror.
Great Terror? No, what's that?
He was an independent journalist too. They made a movie called Kill the Messenger.
Okay, I just saw that. Yeah.
All right, so that guy was killed too, and he was shut down because of what he stumbled upon.
But here's the thing, Jay. That's what I was just going to get to. He was actually an investigative reporter who had the set of tools and skills and connections. This was just a 20-year-old from, and I don't want to keep minimalizing her by her age or anything like that, but I'm just saying she was a young woman from Canada trying to be an investigative journalist, maybe allegedly, and that's a dangerous field. When you start running into the big boys, and they can tell you right away if you're not legit. If you got a source attached to you, they're probably gonna pull back and get you later. But if you have no source attached to you and you're just independent by yourself, like, yeah, you're expendable. Like, they're just gonna, and I don't know who they are, allegedly. I mean, because I don't know what they were doing there. There have been programs in different areas that are starting to uncover right now that are legitimate, that were myths and legends beforehand. But what I find very, very curious, okay, so a student journalist comes down to downtown Los Angeles because she finds out about a company that is involved in invisible technology. She has the wrong impression of Los Angeles by the sort of false advertising and sort of the cultural sort of sunshine and movie star sort of imagery that's been put on her. She comes down, she bites off more than she can chew, and winds up in a water tank, maybe. That sounds probably...
That's one possibility.
One possibility. One thing, and it's not a bad possibility. Okay, here's what I think. And tell me, and please, and poke holes in it or challenge it. I think that she came down here. She was seen by somebody from the outside. They knew about her condition. They took advantage. And when they took advantage, I think they did something violent. And I think they covered it up by throwing her in the water tank, because it's too, look, to take a body to a water tank, you're leaving too much open. Anybody can see you at any time. So you really have to know what you're doing. Anybody can see you. They can see you from another building. Those buildings on LA are so close to each other. Like, Perch, from Perch, you can see what's going on in other people's windows. I can see what's happening in somebody's living room. So who's to say downtown somebody didn't see? It just leaves too much to chance, even to do that, to carry somebody. You said you had to get by a window, a locked water tank, onto a roof that could be accessed at any time, because everybody loves to go to the roof. So it had to have somebody who had impeccable timing,
and strength.
I mean, I think it was two people.
Yeah.
I actually think it was two people.
To do it was kind of,
I actually think it was maybe 2 or 3 people. Because you had to have somebody look out. Okay? You had to know the building. You had to, have had a plan. You couldn't just do this. You can't do things like this on panic. Panic doesn't work. If you do something with panic, you're going to get caught. You're going to get sloppy. DNA. But then again, if it's planned out that well, that means, dang, who planned it out that well? I mean, wow.
If they wanted to get her, they were going to get her.
Yeah.
That's all.
And it was the perfect crime. It was never solved.
Listen, if you have
and the building shut down before it tried to clear his name.
No, if you have the information and there's a hit out for you and you're going to leak information or whatever, you're going to cost another person money. They came and that's pretty much.
So it had to be more organized than it was spur of the moment thing that happened.
It couldn't just be a rape because a rape with alcohol you do stupid things. You don't.
And that's what it was called. That's what they said.
There was a chance or a suicide. But then like you said, she was naked. Nobody saw her walking around naked. What we saw her was she had clothes on, right? So I mean, somebody took it off from her, or did she take it off from herself?
And she had a lot of clothes on.
Have you seen the Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into that real quick. So people actually contacted you. Then tell us about that whole experience when people contacted you about this.
You didn't sign the waiver, huh?
No, I didn't. Well, they what you call they put what you call the the room's dark. They put a microphone on you. And then
tell us from the beginning. They sent an Uber for you, right? Tell us everything.
They sent. Well, one of the girls convinced me. Like he would come over and like hear my story out. Because she would say like, we want to know what's going on the inside.
Where were you? Where were you when they came approached you?
I was working at Perch. So you know how Perch people, like, you're in the lobby, people walk by, they come in, they ask you questions.
Yeah.
So I guess she was doing a story on this back then.
Okay.
Maybe 2015.
2015. Okay.
She came over and all. That's when the whole story was. American Horror Story did something on her the whole season.
Okay.
And then what you would call the Elisa Lam story. You guys should look at that.
Okay.
That's more on the spiritual side.
Okay.
The demons and spirits were following her.
And it's on her. It's
the stories about her though. That was like the hottest topic for a while. So she told me, "Can we hear your side of the story?" So they interview, and I just said what I said. It's like what I've been saying.
To who?
To a young lady.
A young lady.
Another independent.
She's an independent researcher. But she's a film maker too.
A filmmaker.
So for the Sundance and all that. There's so many good stories at the Sundance festivals. They get bought out by somebody and never put out there because they have good information.
It's on purpose.
Yeah. Because they don't want you to open what you call a door.
Well, go ahead. Tell more about this, Jay, about this experience. So she questioned you.
So she convinced me, we'll get you Uber, to come pick you up at the house, and then we'll have you at your job, right before 3:00, So that's what they did, and they had me lunch, they gave me lunch and all that.
Where was the interview? Just in a dark room?
It was just in a dark room, It was a whole hotel, on Sunset. Like they had the whole hotel to themselves. They were filming there regardless.
Okay, hotel on Sunset. Okay.
But what she was saying there's about 10 production companies. There are what you call fighting for who's going to release what on Netflix.
Okay.
That was a big what you would call like a gig for somebody to get.
Okay.
So she said, we're going to get your information. There's a slight chance we might not even use it. There's a slight chance it might get bought out. Bought by somebody else. And incorporate to their information, so they could go have a storyline.
Okay.
And what to go with, And I guess that's what Netflix went with.
So that's the story they went with. It was just a story. It wasn't the real story. It was a story that they went with through the compilation of information they received, including from yourself.
Yeah. So like my story was like, so they were like, there's more to it here, because it was done very good. Kind of like what you would call like Dexter type of crime, There's no tracks. They didn't leave no tracks where people could follow.
Well, who leaves no tracks, Jay? What kind of person? The average person is going to make a mistake.
Serial killer,
professional job,
professional
mistakes.
Job.
But I mean, I think it was too easy.
It was too.
It's not like she's not. She has no security. She has a building where there is security.
Exactly.
But there's, when do you really think something's going to happen? Like
cameras that never caught anybody.
So just a simple switch. Bloop. Hit the switch and kill the cameras. And
there's no security guys. I know no disrespect.
Maybe they got paid out.
But I'm just saying, maybe listen.
The main guy.
I don't think security guards could have pulled that off. Because no regular security guards could have pulled that off. I used to be a security guard. I mean, I couldn't pull that shit off. If somebody said, "Hey man, we got a dead body here. We got to move it to the water tank." Whoa. How can you pull that off? You're going to make a mistake. Somebody's going to talk. People always talk, man. Somebody's going to tell somebody, get drunk, say something. So, yeah. And like I said, we didn't see her in any other cameras.
The footage is just limited. So I'm saying, like...
And what's the first thing that they said to kind of throw you off? Medication. Go into that. Tell us about that. You were telling me, actually, about that there. When they want to throw you off the scent of something. When I say they, I mean whoever the people are you investigate. I hate when people say they.
It's usually the media.
The media.
The media, and then you have what you would call reporters.
Reporters, okay.
So you know how they're just following, you know, orders of what to say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the easiest thing, you know. She got her meds. She had what you would call a psychotic event.
Well, that's to discredit you.
And then you know she ended up dead. You know, she ended up hurting herself.
Whenever they want to discredit you, the first thing they say is you're crazy or on drugs. From Britney Spears to Michael Jackson, to anybody they want to immediately discredit you. It's, for some reason in the human mind, when they say, hey, he's on drugs, immediately you're discredited. Now you got to try to prove that you're not. You have to, and that takes away from the conversation. So instead of proving that, you know what I'm saying, you're onto something valid, now you got to take all that energy and defend you not being on drugs. So it's deflection. They're deflecting you away from the main point. So now everybody's like, yeah, well, prove you're not on drugs. Man, this is still going on. They're cleaning, they're packing, they're doing everything. And you're like, well, we need you to prove you're in the right frame of mind. That's the condition they got us in. You know, a lot of times people do some ingenious things on drugs. You just don't do things on drugs because you're crazy. Some of the greatest scientists have been on drugs. Some of the greatest writers in human history have been morphine addicts, heroin addicts. Some of the greatest scientists, Adderall. You know, so
different point of view.
Everybody. Oh, I mean, some of the greatest pieces that you've seen on film or music have been drug-induced. They don't tell you, hey, don't listen to the Rolling Stones. They were on drugs. They don't tell you that. Do they say that? Hey, Mick Jagger was on drugs.